What's up, guys? Welcome to Rollless Chats. I'm Zay Wolf, and here with Finto and Hoffman, we're going to be talking about Obi Wan Kenobi episode 4, streaming now on Disney Plus. If you like our content, please subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment. So, guys, what do you guys think about the episode?
I loved it. One of the best episodes of a TV show I've ever seen in my life.
How dare you, sir?
It was so good. Dude, I don't think I have been this disheartened by a TV show or a Star Wars show or movie since The Rise of Skywalker. Like, as high hopes I have for the show, this thing just completely cut out my legs. This was the episode that I feel completely jumped the shark, where the other episodes kind of had some good parts about it, right? It was hard to find almost anything redeeming about this. It just breaks my heart to talk about it. Like, I'm not even upset about it so much as I am just like, I can't believe this is what we got. Like, I cannot believe this is the Kenobi show. It feels so dull.
Yeah, I gotta say, and like, I could talk about this for an hour, so I'm gonna try and keep it short. But this episode, it broke my heart. I just, going into this, I never thought I'd be making a video where I would be talking shit about this show and about Obi Wan Kenobi, about Ewan McGregor. But Disney have just, like, they've destroyed this, like, time. It doesn't make any sense to me. How can a video game made by EA come out that's around the same time as this be so much better and tell a much more accurate story than this show? It drives me insane. There's like so much wrong with this episode. Like, do you know what I mean? When we first see Obi-Wan turn on his lightsaber, he literally strikes a stormtrooper and his lightsaber bounces off the stormtrooper's arm. I'm like, God. What am I watching? Like, what's happening? It's so bad. A couple of the shots he's like swinging, and I can kind of understand maybe he's like hitting him with the very tip of the lightsaber and it's just cutting the dude. Fair enough. But there's an active swing, one of his first swings, and his lightsaber bounces off the dude's armor. I'm like, I'm sorry, that guy should have been cut in half like the gate cut the dude in half in the previous episode. Do you know what I mean? Yep. This is a lightsaber, dude. They are indestructible. There is barely anything in the universe, bar another lightsaber and Beskar, that can withstand. And even Beskar, like, can't do it, like, full time. Like, you see Beskar starts to heat up. If you were to leave a lightsaber on it long enough, I'm sure it would go through it. But, dude, like, what the hell did I watch? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, And the canon is being, like, absolutely shaken to pieces in this episode. Like, Reva is talking to Leia and actually calls Obi-Wan Kenobi Obi-Wan. He's dead. Obi-Wan's dead. Kenobi's dead. And, like, I'm like, this is just completely destroying the first scene where we see Leia in episode 4. When we first see Leia, she's recording that message for Obi-Wan Kenobi. She doesn't know who he is. She's like, you fought alongside my father during the Clone Wars. We need your help, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. If she knew who it was, she wouldn't have recorded the message like that. I think this is just a wild, like, misunderstanding of the canon. And, it's been made public this week in interviews and stuff. Like, one of the writers of this episode came out and said that he didn't know that Obi-Wan knew who Darth Vader was. I'm like,
how
did you watch episode 3? Like, you know what I mean?
Ever? Like, it's like so blatant.
It's ridiculous, dude. Like, in episode 3, like, I'm sorry, like, if you're hired by Disney to write content for this show, you're gonna watch the stuff that immediately precedes it and the stuff that happened immediately before it. Episode 3 is what happened before it. In that movie, it's not a deleted scene. It's not like an extended cut scene or anything like that. It was in the theatrical release of the film. Obi-Wan Kenobi is standing there, sees a recording of Palpatine knighting Anakin as a Sith Lord and calls him Darth Vader. He knows it straight away. I understand that maybe he thinks Vader's dead. That's one thing. But to not know who Vader is at all is just a gross misunderstanding of the canon. And this dude is a writer for this TV show. Like, it blows my mind. And I saw, I've seen people talking about, like, the budget for the show was only 90 million. And I'm like, how is this show not being given the same budget as Mandalorian? I understand Mandalorian has a couple of more episodes in their season than this does. But, Jesus Christ, this show has the most important characters in Star Wars, arguably. And they need to be given twice the budget that Mandalorian has got. You need to put everything into this show. This should be the show this should have been a simple win, and it's not. It's awful. Some of the best scenes in this episode are just regurgitated story from the Fallen Order game that was released in 2019. Do you know what I mean? Obi-Wan holding onto the glass, doing the whole kind of filling up the hallway with the water and stuff. Cal Kestis did that. He breaks into the base the exact same way that Cal did like 3 years before. Are you telling me that the Inquisitori didn't learn from their mistakes when two Jedis broke in 2 years ago? Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
It's
like,
so
it's crazy.
bad,
it's fucking insane. And then to top it all off, with that scene where he's walking layout underneath the trench coat or something, like, dude, like,
oh my god,
I thought I was watching an episode I thought I was watching an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants or something. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, what am I watching right now? It was just insane. And then, like, to even go deeper on it, Reva blocking the bullets from the ships and stuff, those snow speeders, like you know, I suppose lightsabers could block those bullets, but like that's not something that we just so casually see in Star Wars. Like, you know, you don't see Luke like blocking bullets from TIE fighters and stuff like that, like, you know, or like a Vader blocking bullets from X-wings and stuff. You know, like it's kind of understood that they're meant to be like the heavy rounds, like, you know, like that they would like take someone's hands off or whatever if they were to try and deflect those bullets. But Reva's just sitting there on the deck just like blocking everything, and she's like a superstar. Like, I honestly, bro, like I'm lost here. It's
cheap and lazy.
It is. The writing is deplorable, and just even, I don't know, like I try to be like positive as much as I can, but with this episode I can't at all. You know, the only thing I liked was Obi-Wan's so-called hall scene where he was like blocking bullets and sending bullets back, and you could see he's kind of getting his flow back, but it's not good enough. Like, it's not good enough. Like, we're halfway through the series now. We're past the halfway mark. That episode was only 32 minutes. When this show was originally sold to us, it was meant to be 6 one-hour episodes. We're now seeing episode 4. We've only got 2 left. God knows how long they're going to be. We might get an hour and a half if we're lucky of content left, and that's for the whole show. We've seen Hayden Christensen for what, 20 seconds or 15 seconds during like a desert hallucination. That was it. Like, you know, like the show has just been grossly mismarketed. Like, I feel like it's false advertising. Like, I feel like we were sold something and we're not getting it. Like, you know, the press tour was Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, and these two guys have barely been in their own show. It's called Obi Wan Kenobi, and the show is focusing more on Reva and little Leia than they are on Obi-Wan. Like, this episode, like, this show should be solely about Obi-Wan. I want flashbacks to the Clone Wars. Like, I think everyone's been predicting, like, that's where it was going to go with the Bacta tank and stuff, and it made sense. But he was dipped into the Bacta tank for, like, what, a minute, and then he came out and all of his like, burnt arm and everything was healed in 1 minute. Like, I'm like, what?
And the worst
He's like,
part
get
is,
me out of here.
Yeah, dude.
I thought fucking Boba Fett like conditioned me. I thought we were gonna get a flashback when he was in the back to take.
Yeah.
Boba Fett set me up for that. Like, we did a whole season of that, and that's nothing.
Bro, it's just so painful. It's so hard to watch, like, because I'm so hurt by it, because it's like these, to me, like, Hayden Christensen is probably my favorite character in all of Star Wars. Like, I love Anakin Skywalker. I love Vader, and like, we're not getting any Hayden, so I don't know why he was even on the press tours. And Ewan McGregor seems to be like third on the call sheet on his own show, and the fucking thing's named after him. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's wild to me. It really is wild to me.
Yeah, it's so tough, like, having to deal with these episodes, because you really do want to love it, but it just goes to show how much they didn't have anything to really write, or that they didn't really think about it, like, for the whole process of these 6 episodes.
Dude, there's so much source material.
Winged it.
There's so much source material that they can work with in this time frame.
But they winged it.
Oh.
And like you said, they got a writer that didn't even know anything about the Star Wars lore, which is baffling. Like, you should never do that with any sort of writer. A writer should know exactly what's going on, you know, previously and for the future, so that, you know, they know what they can write in between. Disney's got some serious questions to answer, because it's not like they're only doing this with Star Wars either. Like, you know, do you remember back in like the likes of like WandaVision? I think when that show came out, one of the writers of the show had said that they didn't even know who Mephisto was. They were like, "What's all this Mephisto talk? Who the hell is that?" You know what I mean?
I don't
like,
believe her.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. And then, like, even like Star Wars, like, you know the way they're doing that Knights of the Old Republic remake game. Mm-hmm. Like, I think one of the head developers never even played the original game. I'm like, bro, like what? How are these people getting jobs? I'm sorry, like. It's insane.
What was more concerning to me a little bit is like, what is the point of the Lucasfilm story group? Because this is supposed to be like the holders of the lore, this the council of people who approve everything. So who is letting them like shake down the canon like this? Like, what's the point of having them if you're letting writers on or having people just do things that like really don't fit into it?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the lightsaber that bounces off the Star Trooper's chest. You know why that happens? Because they want to use practical lightsabers because they don't want to do the 3D effects anymore because they want it to do practical lighting. And that's what you get because now the lightsabers don't go through people because there's an actual, light blade on the end of it for in real life.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me. And I think that the lightsabers don't feel right at all. Even when they're fighting, even when Kenobi is deflecting all the stuff. All the lightsabers feel so heavy and weird, and they don't feel like the Star Wars that we've come to know for the past 20 years. I don't understand how this is happening. You talk about a Kenobi being a third on the call sheet. He's a cameo, it feels like, in this.
Yeah.
Everyone else has so much more screen time than him, and he's just like walking through halls. He gets one huge moment where he does the holding the window thing and throwing it onto them. Cool, I gotcha. But even that felt weird and like it didn't make any sense. How does like no water get through the door? And that's like a nitpick, right? Like that's a huge nitpick of the show. But when the story is this bad, like it kind of opens up the door to you start nitpicking stuff.
Yeah.
Because I love so many shows and so many movies that I don't even like break down and go down to these rabbit holes because I just like the story and they sold it to me and I was there. But in this show, it's like you have the female posing as the Imperial officer, or she is an Imperial officer, or she's a spy. And it's just like every bad, or not bad, but it's every sci-fi trope for a heist. It's, oh, well, don't you know I have classified information? And do you really want to be the one that the boss has to come down? Like, well, that's been done so many times.
Yeah.
Like, how is this Star Wars? How is this story so small? I don't understand it. It's like, if we were going to do a story this small, why didn't we just keep Ben on Tatooine and do a Tatooine story?
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for him to be off in space doing this when the story doesn't really justify it. Like, all he had to do was take Leia back to Alderaan. Stop going to all these other fucking places. Yeah. Like, why are we at the Fortress Inquisitorius? Like, why did Kenobi not yell at this girl or this lady for leaving Leia on her own when he's like, I need you to protect Leia? And she's like, nah, I'm going to fuck off and come back and save you. And like, we don't even get a scene where he's like, what you let Leia go by herself? Yeah. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense, man.
Dude, that scene where she like slapped the two stormtroopers' helmets and they fell over.
Oh my god!
Like, dude, have they got any choreography experts on this show? Like, Star Wars, like the prequels were like famous for the crew that they had. Like, all these dudes that were doing all the choreography and everything. Like, Ewan and Hayden went through 10 months of training for Episode 3 for that big fight, and this is just laughable. Like, I'm sorry, like, I've never done any choreography training in my life, but I can guarantee you that if I was put in front of that camera, or behind that camera to shoot that scene, I would have made it look better than that. Like, that was just laughable. My girlfriend turned to me when we were watching that, and she just said, what are we watching? Like, this is shocking. I was disgusted by it. It was so terrible, so lazy. And again, to go back to the Fallen Order game, but it's like, that's canon. That game is canon. It happened like 3 years before the events of this show. How the hell have they not like upped the security? They're in an underwater base, and one bullet from a gun from a stormtrooper shatters the glass. Like, dude, like, this is just the laziest writing I've ever seen in my life. It makes no sense. It's just so stupid. Like, Cal Kestis, a Jedi Knight, broke into the place and killed the second sister. Like, one of the Inquisitors died. And you're telling me, and like Vader nearly drowned, and you're telling me that they haven't like upped security, they didn't put better glass in the place. It's an underwater fortress. I'm lost. Like, I'm lost.
It's one of those things where it's like, why did that happen? Oh, because they had no other reason to make the plot plausible other than the fact that they just wanted there to be like an intense scene between Obi-Wan, the troopers, and like the actual force of nature being the water. Other than that, like, he probably could have been well off against all those stormtroopers. And I agree with you guys about the armor. that's nuts. I actually looked it up, and it's like it's barely durable to withstand maybe blaster damage,
No,
but
they
it's
should they get
not good.
one shot, and a stormtrooper's dead. Like, you know, with a standard
Yeah.
blaster, you'll see Han Solo going around like just taking out stormtroopers with ease, just like pew pew, one bullet, bang bang, dead, 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 dead. It made no like how. I'm sorry, how did it? And like what
Yeah.
did like Obi-Wan like know to like stop right as it kind of just like sliced his chest and then bring it back out? No, it was a clear bounce off the armor. And then
Yeah.
as well,
Well,
to talk about the Purge Troopers as well, like how cool were they in the game? Like the Purge Troopers were great, and we finally get the Purge Troopers here. It was like kind of one of the build-ups to the show. Like we saw like promo pictures of the Purge Troopers. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be great. Like we're going to have live-action Purge Troopers, and we get one Purge Trooper in this episode, and he's putting a gun through the crack in the door, and he's trying to shoot Kenobi. I'm like, he may as well just be a normal stormtrooper. What's he doing? Like, you know what I mean? These are meant to be the elite troopers. Like,
yeah.
awful. Again, just
It,
they don't understand what they're writing. They don't understand what they're shooting.
They don't. And
No.
they have not done enough in the show to justify it. It is not a show that stands on its own legs. If Kenobi's not in this show, you're not watching it. Like it is not good enough. And the fact that they've done so much to kind of like, you know, take the legs out of canon, like I don't think they've completely broken it apart, but they've definitely like poked a lot of holes in it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to wait till we get to the end of the series to see if that you know how well they fix all this, right?
Yeah.
But you know, they've taken so much away from A New Hope with this show, and I don't care what is plausible. It definitely wasn't what George Lucas intended. You know, when Leia is reaching out to Ben Kenobi, this is meant to be her first time messaging Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
And that's why she's like, you helped my father during the Clone Wars. Please help me now.
She does not
Like,
know him. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Like after going through this, she'd be like, hey, you know, I know you'll come to help me. I
You
need
saved
your
my
help.
life
I
before.
know-
Can you
yeah.
do it again? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she's putting a new hope into Ben Kenobi. Like, I hope this gets to you. I hope you come help us. And if she was sending this after this series takes place now, she 100% knows that Kenobi is going to come help her if she gets the message there.
Also, to
Right.
talk about Leia for one more minute, that scene where Reva tries to break into her mind, and
God.
Leia's sitting there just like, what are you doing? Are you playing a game or something? Like, I honestly, I was terrified because if anything is mentioned about the Force or the fact that Leia is Force sensitive, it just destroys everything. There's a scene in Return of the Jedi where Luke basically tells Leia that she's like him, she's a Jedi, and she's like, I'm nothing like you. I don't understand what you do. I don't know what the Force is. I don't understand it. Nothing. She's like, you know what I mean? That's Return of the Jedi, you know? So
Yeah.
if they turn around in the next episode or in the last episode and mention at all to her that she's a Force sensitive, like that to me is like final straw. Like, you know, that's just ridiculous. Like, you know?
Yep.
And
So,
I'm scared that's
Can
going
I
to happen.
just say though, I'm scared for that too, because like you're really trying to break all the canon at this point and just reconstruct it into whichever way you want to have it. But that aside, I wanted to know what did you guys feel about the child who's portraying Leia? Because to be completely honest, and I don't know if you guys will agree with me, I kind of like her acting in this.
I like her. I
It's-
think
it's
she's a
not-
very
it's not
talented
bad.
actress. She's a very talented
Yeah.
little actress, and I think she's playing a young Leia perfectly. I just don't like the direction that the story for Leia is being written. Like this show should not be focusing on Leia. Like Leia's kind of intro is Rogue One and Episode 4. Like, you know, that's when we meet
Yeah.
the princess. Like, I don't think we need to. Like, Jesus Christ, we've seen Luke Skywalker through a pair of binoculars for 2 seconds, and he is Obi-Wan's mission. It's to watch Luke, and we've seen him for a grand total of 2 seconds on screen. You know, so I'm like, why are we focusing on Leia? I don't understand. I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Like I just I don't care about any of these characters except Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And I'm sorry if like a lot of people don't, you know, they just think I'm a fanboy or whatever. But that's why I showed up to the show. That's why I'm here. You are making a Kenobi show. I do love Ben Kenobi. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's why you made the show. That's why I'm showing up. And he's not in the show enough, doing enough. Like he should just be better.
Yeah.
We have maybe an hour left of this show, to be honest with you. And in an hour, we're gonna get all the Kenobi to be satisfied. Like this might be the last time we get Ewan McGregor as Kenobi ever. And like this is just such a wasted opportunity in my mind to like really showcase Ben Kenobi as a Jedi again. Because like I fucking love Obi Wan Kenobi as a Jedi. Like he's one of the best duelists in the world. The motherfucker, he killed Darth Maul, man. Like, he killed Darth Maul. He's one of the best
When he
lightsaber
was a
fighters
Padawan.
in the universe. Yes.
Yeah.
And like, we get like nothing, man. It's so weak and just not compelling. And I'm not saying that none of this is not plausible, because I think that a lot of it is plausible the way they set up the show, but it's just not good. It's just not good. And there's a difference between the two of those. And there's a lot of people on social media and on YouTube making bad faith arguments about that we just don't get it, or you just don't like that the show, is about the character of, or the actress of Leia, or the actress of Reva. No, none of that. Those are bad faith arguments. I know there's a huge, fan base that they're assholes and they're attacking that.
Yeah.
But at its core, it's not a great story. These characters are not great, and they're wasting Kenobi, man. They're wasting him.
Yeah, I heard.
So
I heard them also say that there's going to be a Reva spin-off. So
God.
yeah, I think that's
Not
why
for me.
that's why they're doing this, though. They're trying to get Reva at the forefront so that when she gets an announcement of her own show, everyone's going to be like, "Oh yeah, let's watch that." Like,
Yeah.
That will probably be one of the lowest rated Disney Plus shows, not rated, viewed.
Yeah.
Disney Plus shows we'll ever see.
Yeah, I don't think
There's
not
nothing in this show that makes Reva compelling.
Yeah.
There's nothing. They've not done the work. They've not done the work for her.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this
Not
show,
enough.
this show should have been Obi Wan Kenobi for 6 hours. We should have seen where he is now. We should have seen why he decided to relinquish the Force and turn his back on the Force and the Jedi and everything. Like, we should have had all that explained to us. We should have seen those flashbacks. People are like, praying for Clone Wars flashbacks. Give us the Clone Wars flashback. Give the people what they want. But like, we should have at least gotten flashbacks to see him where he decided to, properly disengage from the Force. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we watching an Obi Wan Kenobi who can't even defend himself at the start of this show? Like, he's starting to come around now. He's becoming a Jedi Master again. But like, we're 4 episodes into the show now, and we've hardly seen him, and I'm kind of putting all this stuff together in my head as I'm watching it and kind of thinking like, okay, but I shouldn't be doing that. We should be seeing it. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be like imagining all this stuff. We should be seeing it. It's wild to me. Like, it's just it's such a sad thing, because I hate talking bad about Star Wars, because it's like the thing I've loved in my life the longest. Like, I've been watching Star Wars since I was 6 years old. So, for me to be talking shit about this show, it just really upsets me, because I just wanted nothing more than to love this show, and I just feel like we were sold something in the marketing for the show that we're just not getting. What's the point in bringing Hayden Christensen back for that one scene where he's kind of in the desert, and then what I mean, like, they had I saw a behind the scenes picture. They have 3 stunt doubles playing Vader, so like, I know Anakin's in the suit at some point, but I don't know when. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's going to be, if they're going to copy Rebels and have a scene where like his helmet gets damaged and we see half of his face through the helmet, like what Ahsoka did when she was fighting him in Rebels. That's probably what's going to happen. Something like that's going to happen, and there'll be a dialogue scene between him and Obi-Wan, and that'll be like Hayden. Other than that, Hayden's not in the suit. Like, it's these other dudes, and he's not doing a voice, and he didn't even speak when they did that that scene, that hallucination scene. So I'm like, why is Hayden Christensen here? You know what I mean? I just don't understand. Like, I feel robbed, because I feel like, we should have be getting so much more Hayden, and we should be getting so much more Ewan. It just makes no sense to me. I'm so heartbroken. What do you think is going to happen in episode 5?
Alex.
The Empire Strikes Back. So one of the things that I noticed, and I actually read up on it, was that, did you guys notice that each episode is called Part 1 through 4 so far? And the idea apparently is that they're kind of doing a J.J. Abrams situation, where they're kind of like, they're trying to be like, remember similar things that happened in Part 1 through 4 that are happening in this show. Like the whole Leia being a captive in episode 4. Episode 3 with the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan, and it's just, and Obi-Wan losing in the sense. So like, if you think about it, if we go into Part 5, it's going to be The Empire Strikes Back, in which case hopefully someone loses their hand,
I hope Kenobi loses his hand.
That's ridiculous. Like again, canon shattering stuff. But again, it wouldn't surprise me at this stage. Yeah, like I saw a video of a guy talking about this, Alex, and I don't know if you watched the same video or whatever, but there was a guy who basically said that episode 1 we see Luke and it looks like he's driving a pod racer, you know, like that's like episode 1. Episode 2, there's, you know, whatever it is, there's a scene in episode 2 and they're like, that happened in episode 2 of the show. 3 is Vader and thing. 4 is Leia getting captured and Obi-Wan going to rescue him like they did in episode 4 with him going to the Death Star. And then episode 5, they're saying what people are hoping is going to happen is that he's going to either reunite in the Force with Yoda. So it'll be kind of like Luke going to Dagobah. I don't think Kenobi will go to Dagobah, but I think he's going to talk to Yoda through the Force. And we might see like a Force ghost of Yoda. We also might finally get to hear Qui-Gon Jinn, which I think has to happen at this stage. You know what I mean? He's been trying to reach out to Qui-Gon for so long. It has to happen. I'd be shocked if it didn't happen. So I think, yeah, episode 5 is going to be him training to try maybe talk to Yoda, try and reconnect. Maybe talk to Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon might give him some words of wisdom about Anakin or something like that. I'm praying that we get a flashback finally. We finally get a bit of Hayden in there. Maybe Obi-Wan like remembers something from their training together in the past, and they kind of do a de-age thing, and then maybe that kind of trains him up for the fight. Yeah, and I don't know. Like I just like anything of what I've just said. If we get any of that, I think will be 10 times better than the episode that we've just watched. So again, there's only 2 episodes left. I really, really feel like they have to do something with Hayden Christensen because they've brought him back, they've paid him, they've brought him on the press tour, he's been touring the world. I just don't understand why they would do that if he doesn't have any scenes. Like, you know, I hear everybody harping on TikTok and on YouTube about the Clone Wars flashbacks, and I think we might finally get them in this next episode.
I'd be excited for any of it. I think, you know, if we go along the lines of what the show's been doing from, you know, kind of mirroring the episodes, I definitely think we don't get Yoda, but I do think we get Qui-Gon. Like you know, that training stuff with Qui-Gon. Yeah. You know, Qui-Gon Jinn shows him how to lift a X-Wing out of the sands of Tatooine, I guess. I don't know. So.
Yeah. Yeah, look.
Fuck. Why didn't you use the Force to pick up the lightsabers out of the sand? Wouldn't that have been so much better?
They're digging them
Wouldn't
up.
that have been like, wouldn't that have been like so cinematic? Like he's using the Force to dig those out?
How funny would it be if he did commune with Yoda and Yoda's like, where the hell have you been for the last 10 years? I've been trying to talk to you. And he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I turned the Force off altogether. Like he'd be like, what? You have training. You're supposed to be watching Luke. What are you doing? Abandoning the Force. Like, I'm sure Yoda would have some stern words for him if that was the case.
Make good decisions. You have not, Obi-Wan.
It just cuts to Luke with a broken arm, and it's like, see what happens when you're gone.
Yeah, like, oh, dude, I don't know. Look, guys, I think we need to just wait and see what happens. Again, I'm not like, you know, I've heard of all of the leaks that have come out and stuff like that, and I pray that it's all fake. I pray that none of it happens, but. You know, if those leaks are true, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have some very interesting conversations to have because I know, and I apologize that I was so heated in this video, but I think I'm going to be even more angry. So please prepare yourselves because if the leaks happen the way that they're being told, I'm going to be furious. Furious.
All right.
All right.
We'll
all right,
see
guys.
it.
Yep. Make sure you like the video. Let us know in the comments what you think of episode 4. Do you like it? Do you not? Are we talking shit or are we talking facts? Let us know. You know, I don't mind having an argument with somebody in the comments below. So let us know and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here and like the video. See you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.
Hey, everyone.
Good one.